Hey guys, have you ever found yourself in the North Georgia mountains in a vicious cockfight and all you got is a regular old kitchen knife? Well, I know I have. Guys, I'm Evan Temple here to tell you about warriorpoetsociety.com. We've got all the things. We got real tactical blades. Do you need tactical blades? Of course you do, because you don't want to be a guy using a kitchen knife in a knife fight. Beyond that, we've got the clinch pick. You've heard of it. Craig Douglas, John Lovell, they love it. We've got all kinds of stuff. Guys, head on over to warriorpoetsociety.com and check out a bevy. And a bevy means a lot of knives. And you're gonna find yours for you. Check it out, warriorpoetsociety.com.
We good to go? We gotta do a video.
Yeah, man. Do we want to? How you want to tee this one up?
I think we're already in it. We're in it.
We're doing the thing right now.
I think it's literally happening now.
Do you want to give them your tagline?
They're gonna. What's my tagline?
You know.
Shut up! No, that's on the network. We'll have to save it for a War Poet show. Guys, Paul and I are out here ready to do some shooting, just to stay fresh, do some training and whatnot. But we thought it would be a good idea to show you guys a different way to grip a pistol and manage recoil. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. I hold my gun a certain way and manage recoil a certain way for pistol, and Paul does it another way. So there's a couple different ways. One, you could do it the right way, or two, you could do it Paul's way. Paul, hey. Let him know something. What do you got?
Right, so listen, John, the way he manages recoil and grips a pistol, the way he teaches it, you'll see in his videos, if you watch any of his videos, you've been to his classes, he has a very specific way that he grips a pistol and the way he teaches certain pressure points on the pistol. He is wildly successful with the technique he uses, but he is in the minority, I'm afraid, when it comes to the way people grip pistols. There's the other 90% of professional shooters out there who grip the pistol the way I do. And however,
he made that statistic up on the spot.
I totally did. I can't validate that was science at all. That was just a ballpark. 90%, 92.3% of shooters polled use my grip method rather than yours. And I can't see mine. It's just the modern pistol grip. That's that's what people use. So, and then John has taken it like he does with a lot of things, and he's just twisted it into something
awesome,
cruel and awful,
beautiful.
But he makes it work.
Poetic.
He makes it work. Poetic, warrior-like.
No,
poetic at the same time.
I'll tell people in class that there's kind of two different schools for gripping a pistol. There's kind of this really aggressive Shane Coley, world champion competitive shooter. JJ Rakaza, another one. It's more of
Bob Vogel uses a very aggressive
Bob Vogel,
grip.
Shane Coley. It's more way up aggressive. You're high torquing in, and this elbow really rises. You can watch the left elbow, or the support elbow, to really know which school they're in. So this is a real aggressive. You call it active
recoil management system versus a passive recoil management system.
And who are some champions, world champions, who do the passive system?
Name all the rest of them.
No.
You just
that's actually. I think there's more that go for the passive, but regardless, like JJ Rakaza springs to mind, a friend of ours, world champion, competitive shooter. So either way, world champions can go active or passive, both work, and I'm good with both. But Paul falls in more of the latter category, and you've heard from me already. We've got my Pistol 1 class on our WPSN app in its totality, so you can see it there. And I've also given you pieces of it years before on YouTube. But today, I want Paul to really spill in what's happening with the pressures and the placement of hands and elbows and stuff. Teach us your feng shui for more of a passive school of thought, and see if it fits some of these guys better, because it will, in some cases.
This is a passive aggressive recoil management system.
Do we have any other interaction but passive aggressive?
All right, guys. So listen, this is what I tell people in my classes. First of all, guys have watched John's Pistol 1 on the network, where he talks about grip, and he's also talked about it in some YouTube videos before. So for me, this is one of the things that I start out telling people in my classes. Number one, shooting is 75% science, 25% art form, right? So there's 75% that's hard, fast, non-negotiable. This is the way it has to be done in order to be done correctly and in order to achieve the desired result. Then there's the 25% that's art form. That's how you figure out how you interface with the weapon system, right? And that's going to be based on, individual body mechanics, limb lengths, hand sizes, all these things. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach to a lot of this stuff, right? So I like to teach a variety of techniques. without overwhelming people, you know, especially new shooters. You kind of have to be careful with that, I think. Overwhelming them with too many options, you kind of have to guide them in the right way, but at the same time, I like to give some options that allow people to kind of maximize their ability to interface with the firearm, right? So John teaches his technique, and again, this, you know, it's another one of those things. There's many paths to the top of the mountain, right? And everything is a trade-off, right? It's always a cost-benefit analysis. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. You're going to have to give up something to get something. I think that just plays out in anything that we do in life, whether it's gripping a pistol, it's setting up your kit, your body armor, whatever. You know, you're never going to get this one-size-fits-all approach. So let's talk about specifically. Take this thing apart here so I can play with it and point it at my cameraman. So look, this is number one. Let's talk about some things that are some common things that John and I do that pretty much every shooter that is, I hate to say this, whether tactical shooting community, the competitive shooting community, whatever that is, there are certain things that everybody's kind of doing the same, okay? And one of those is, number one, just maximizing leverage on the pistol by getting high on the backstrap of the pistol as possible with your firing side hand, right? This is something that everybody is doing. There's no negotiation with this, okay? This is non-negotiable.
Unanimous consensus.
Yeah, you have to get as high on the backstrap of the pistol. You want to get as much leverage on the gun as possible to manage the reciprocating mass. That's the part that goes back and forth when the gun goes bang, right? So we get as high on that as possible in order to manage recoil. We know we can't eliminate recoil, we can only manage it, we can only mitigate it, right? So this is something everybody does. We get super high in the backstrap of the pistol, webbing of the hand is here as high as possible on the backstrap, right? Now, and I'm not sure exactly how you think about this, all right, but when it comes to the firing hand grip, personally, I use basically a front to rear grip, okay? So as opposed to gripping the gun this way, I grip the gun this way so that I'm only applying pressure front and rear.
I'm the same.
Okay, right? So the thumb, the firing side thumb doesn't have anything to do with the grip, right? So it's not like I'm grabbing, a fire pole, I'm not grabbing a fast rope, anything like that. This is, I can grip this thing I can grip it hard enough, put enough muscle tension so that I'm shaking, and my thumb is still free to move because it's not part of the grip, okay? So firing hand side, I think we've got unanimous consent there, right? Now, support hand grip, right? Generally speaking, everybody's gonna lay their support hand in there in that nice gap that we create, right? When we establish our firing hand grip, nice high thumb on the firing hand, so we can just lay our support hand in there, right? So here are some things that are gonna be unanimous consent, I think. One is that the thumbs are gonna be overlaid this way as opposed to having them inside here. This is more of an old school revolver grip, and obviously we want to have as much meat to meat contact around the pistol as possible, right? When we start putting gaps in here, whether it's a gap in the rear between our hands or a gap from our thumbs, we start creating energy leakage. That's where recoil is going to go, right? So we want to get wrapped around this thing as much as possible. Now here's where we start to differ a little bit. So John, and he's going to jump in and correct me if I explain anything wrong.
No, you're killing it, man.
Okay?
I love it.
So
awesome.
John, with his arm extension, okay, arm extension is going to change slightly because of the positional change of his support side hand. When he uses his support side hand, he really cams the thumb forward on the pistol, okay? He gets a very aggressive cam on this thing, and he also uses his support side index finger to wrap around the bottom of the trigger guard, okay? This allows him to get good active downward pressure on the pistol, all right, and lock it in with that index finger on a support side hand. And he basically kind of torques the pistol, kind of twisting this way, okay, with his elbows coming out so that he's really got that pistol locked in where it can't go anywhere. All right, this is what I call an active recoil management system, man, and it works very well. John does it very well. A lot of great shooters out there use this technique, and they use it very well. This is what I caution students. This is where the trade-off comes into play. Okay, and just, you know, I'd like to give full disclosure to everybody. Say, hey, look, this is where the trade-offs are. Okay, so for me, if one of the things about the modern pistol technique and the modern isosceles stance is we get equilateral arm extension, which gives you more consistent presentation as opposed to the old weaver, right? So equilateral arm extension gives us more consistent presentation. For me, when may be different for other people, but body mechanics are different for everybody. When I start to cam the thumb forward, all right, my support side arm actually has to extend, okay? So now I have changed my angle of my elbows to achieve more leverage out here, more active leverage here. I actually have different arm extension now. Okay, so I no longer have exactly equilateral arm extension, which for me can affect presentation. And if you guys look, when you see John shoot, if you watch him shoot, you can see that the gun is even, because of the system that he uses, the gun is even slightly canted a little bit, right?
And that's because I'm really camming in so hard.
You want to show him real quick?
Camming so hard here, it just barely tilts in.
Just a tiny bit, yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
I'd also say, because you did a perfect job explaining what I do, I'd just say when you're camming in this way, never go so far that this hand lifts up. If this hand loses friction there, you went too far, you need to back that girl down and make sure you don't lose friction right there. And the other thing is I'm not getting, I'm not holding the gun by having my arms come together like this. It's really more of a grab here, and then this elbow comes up, so it's almost like twisting the frame into itself.
Right.
So it happens a little bit more with leverage.
Yeah.
Not that it's coming
Yeah,
from
it wasn't.
the arms.
Yeah, maybe I didn't explain that well. I wasn't trying to suggest you flare the elbows up like that, but you're getting that through that that firing, or that support side index finger. So going back to support side index finger, locking it into the trigger guard here, okay? Because I see students do this. They try to emulate John's grip because they've seen it on the they've seen it on his videos. They've seen him shoot, and they're like, I want to shoot like John, so I'm gonna grip the gun the way John teaches us to grip the pistol. Here's one thing that they forget is in all of this, they start basically just resting the index finger up here on the trigger guard. Okay, it's not actively doing anything, it's just sitting there. Okay, and this is what I tell them: if you're going to use the index finger on the trigger guard, it needs to be part of your recoil management system. It can't just be along for the ride. Because if it's along for the ride, just sitting there, we can end up having what we call sympathetic motor movement, right? So when my right hand trigger finger presses, my left trigger finger presses, because I don't have all the tension taken out of there. If I get all the tension taken out of there, it doesn't move when I press the trigger, right? But if it's just along for the ride, then you can have a tendency to do this, and you can move your sights when you're pressing the trigger, which means you're going to miss your shot, right? So one of the things I caution about
that's really, really good read. You should do this professionally.
Really? Do you know anybody who's hiring?
No. I just fired Paul. Paul, this is it. No, just kidding. His classes are all on our website, and he's killing it. He's churning them out, and people love them. Your reviews are floating around 99.4 to 100% reviews. Some of his classes are solid 100%.
Those are the reviews I let him see.
Yeah, he throws out all the bad.
I tell her,
why are all the evals in your handwriting?
Anybody who trains with me knows this. I'm like, hey, John reads these evals, guys.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So let's go back to the way that I manage recoil with the pistol, right? So for me, it kind of has less to do with what's going on up front with the pistol. Go back to support side hand interaction here, right? Basically, I just lay my support side hand in there, and I don't have this real aggressive, support hand grip in terms of trying to get leverage on the pistol. What I have is this same pressures that I have with my firing hand. It's just going side to side now. So I do kind of grip the pistol pretty aggressively, but I'm not really getting any leverage with the support hand. I'm just kind of wrapping around the pistol and then gripping it, using most of my pressure is going to be with my support side hand. I don't know, what do you think? 70-30, 60-40? I'm not sure who measures grip pressure. I've heard it say.
Yeah, and it always feels right. I'm like, oh yeah, 70-30. I'm like, is that 70% compared to this one?
72.5 versus, I was Georgia public school educated. I'm not good at math, so that whatever's left when you take away 72.5. Anyway, so it's just suffice it to say that most of the pressure is coming from my support side hand, right? You'll notice that I've got a pretty neutral wrist position here. It's not aggressive this way, it's just very neutral, which allows me to get equilateral arm extension every time I present the pistol, right? So, I've got good meat-to-meat contact wrapped all the way around here, all right? And I'm not really doing anything but gripping the pistol with my support side hands. When I say passive recoil management system versus active, okay, what I'm doing is basically just allowing my elbows with this equilateral extension just to absorb recoil and bring the gun back down to target. So all the pressure is here up on the pistol, and then I kind of shoot my elbows somewhat relaxed. I don't lock my elbows out, you know, I kind of just get them to a nice relaxed point here, and then I'm not fighting anything. I'm not putting a lot of muscle tension into it. You start increasing muscle tension into things, you lose efficiency, your shooting slows down. So for me, I'm just kind of basically just taking the recoil this way. My elbows, my arms are shock absorbers, and I'm just getting the gun to return to target every time, right? And again, it's just more of a more of a passive system than an active system, than really actively trying to drive the gun back down on target. And you can get the same performance out of it. It's just going to be how you specifically want to interface with the weapon system. Again, 75% science, 25% art form. You know, I tell my students a lot, pick a technique, get really good at it, and have a valid reason for doing it when somebody asks, right? You can't have 2 out of 3. You have to pick a technique, right? And you can have a valid reason for doing it, but if you're not good at it, that doesn't mean anything, right? And if you don't pick a technique, well, you're not going to be good at it, and you're not going to have a valid reason for doing it. If you pick a technique, get really good at it, but you don't have a good reason for doing it, you need to rethink what you're doing, you know, because we want people to be, you know, we're warrior poets, right? We want to be intelligent thinkers, right? When it comes to every discipline that we, you know, that we take on in our lives. So be able to support your position, man, whatever that is. Say, hey, look, this is why I do it, and be able to explain why you do it that way.
And the results should speak for themselves, meaning evaluate
Yes.
how well you do, fully learn and understand one, and then fully learn and understand the other, practice them to get good enough, and then honestly evaluate the results, because ultimately we're after results. If all this stuff doesn't land you at the right result, then you gotta figure something else out, right?
100%, man.
So,
yeah, you can't argue with results, right?
No,
You know, this is the deal. If you go to the gym and there's a guy working out with a pogo stick and a trampoline, and he looks like Mr. Olympia, you don't tell him he needs to go hit the bench. You ask him where he got his pogo stick. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's just the way it is.
So good.
Can't argue with results, man.
Do you pogo stick? Is that your thing?
Not yet, but if I see a dude looks like Mr. Olympia using a pogo stick, I'm on it. I'm buying a pogo stick tomorrow.
Thought I was getting a good tip there.
Sorry, man.
What do you do? I just need a pill that I don't want to. I'm American, so I don't want to actually do anything.
Yeah, you don't want to work. You want the results.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I got you.
We gotta end this video.
Yeah, we do. We gotta kill it.
We gotta end this video.
I think the editor's gonna end it for us.
Train hard, train smart. Stay free. Notifications, bell, subscriptions. What am I missing?
I think that's it, man.
I know it's not.
Come out and train with us, man.
Comment, share. I was setting you up. I knew.
sorry.
I knew. Like, comment,
I don't
share,
do this.
and quit. Tagline. Say. Battle Gnome Actual out.
No, it's dumb. I'm not doing it.
So we'll stick with mine. Train hard.
Train smart. I mean, I prefer the train smart over the train hard part. So if I'm going to say one of them, I'm going to go with train smart. Okay,
Put us out of our misery. Cut.
All right.
I heard y'all wanted some more long-range shooting videos. Well, I'm back. My name's Ryan Kleckner, and I like talking about long-range shooting. In this series, we're going to cover some new topics for you. We're going to do things like shooting at angles and range estimation. I'm even going to take the time to break down my process I use when I get on a rifle to start shooting targets. We're going to talk about the environmental effects of the flight of the bullet on the way to the target, which is going to come in handy because we're here in northern New Mexico in the mountains at Quinlan Ranch, just a little over 8,000 feet right now, and we're going to see some differences. So before we get out there and stretch out to some far targets like a mile away, which we're going to do, before we do that, we need to go revisit some of the older topics and go gather some dope, see what's going on with the wind, and get a good baseline for our rifle and our ammo. I can't wait to get started. I'll see you out there.